guys, welcome to this video, and with this video I am starting the tutorial series on the Google Data Studio. And I accidentally jumped on the Google Data Studio where I was exploring something related to my YouTube account, and I just wanted to explore some data and I was searching about it, and that's where I stumbled upon this Google Data Studio, which I found it really amazing. I was really not aware that a product like Google Data Studio is really available. So far I've been using the Click product or the Tableau product, but after finding Google Data Studio, I must say that it's a tool which everyone should be aware of, though it is in initial stages, but it's an amazing platform for building the visualization. So let me give you some of its facts or benefits of using the Google Data Studio. So first of all, it's free, so a good reason to say yay. But not only this, it's always free. So it's no trial period. Like Tableau, you have 14 days of trial period, and in case of Click, they have just taken away entire thing. I mean, you can't use it unless you pay them. So it's free. You can use it for an extended or for forever, like you use Gmail account or you use Google Drive, stuff like that. Well, you have connectivity with the 250 plus data sources, including almost all of the digital marketing platform. For example, YouTube, FBs, the social media sites. So if you want to connect that, or Google Ads, or things like that, there are like 250 plus data sources that you have, which you can connect through. So as I said, it's in its initial stages. It was launched in the 2016, and right now it is 2020, so still 4 years old. But with that, it has done a lot of significant improvements. When I was exploring this, I was really amazed at the number of options that are available and the flexibility that it gives. But still, it has basic features when you compare it with the Click or Tableau. So a small yay for that. Awesome for YouTubers or digital marketers. Like I said, it's a product from Google, and Google's main income usually comes from the advertisements, like advertisement it runs on the Google search or the YouTube and other sites like that, which Google product has. And for digital marketers, learning all of the coding, extracting the data, and then visualizing, it's a different task altogether. I mean, you really need a programmer for that. But Google Data Studio makes it really, simple for the digital marketers who do not have that much of a technical knowledge, but have a domain knowledge on the digital marketing. So amazing product for them. And then finally, you can share your work easily with others, like you share your Google Drive files. I mean, there is a share link, and you can just go ahead and share that. Well, not only that, you can also schedule it. So with the free platform, having that feature like scheduling or sharing, it's a big here what I feel. I think that's something which is generally not available with the most of the platforms, which are free as well. You can share with others, you can schedule the reports and do stuff like that. Alright, now let's see how you can get the Google Data Studio. Well, to get that, you need to come here on the datastudio.google.com/overview, and over here you have a couple of tabs, and the last tab is basically the home, where it will ask you to sign in. So you need to have the Google account or Gmail account to go inside and start using it. That's a prerequisite. But apart from that, there are some good information which is being given, like gallery, some of the information about the innovative visualization or the dashboards that is being created with the help of the Data Studio. You have connect to data. Here I said 250 plus. I was like a little wrong. You have 220 connectors, which they are expanding almost with every new release. So connect to, like, you have Google Sheets, Google Ad Manager, or Google Analytics, PostgreSQL, 500 plus marketing data sources, and a lot of information that you can further explore as per your needs. But I just wanted to show you the different connectors, and then the visualizations that you have, which is different from what inbuilt you will find it within the Google Data Studio. But this is the new visualization which has been contributed by the community. and you can create your own visualization as well, and you can contribute. Apart from this, you can see all the different charts which are available for you to use it. And finally, when you go to the home, it will ask you to sign in into the Data Studio. And once you sign in, this is how the Google Studio first screen will going to look like, where you have the option of creating a blank report. But apart from that, you have the tutorial report, you have Acme Marketing, you have Search Console, and you can basically come over here, which is the gallery, and you can see all the different example dashboards that is being given by the Data Studio. Apart from that, from the main screen as well, which I showed you a few minutes before, you can also look at the different types of example. Here, I just want to give you a quick information about the topics that I will be covering. And here is a list which I have prepared. So step by step, we will going to know about all of these topics in the future. So introduction of Google Data Studio and how to get it, which we have covered it today. And then we will move on to these topics, which you can pause the screen and read it. But what I want to show you is basically these different 20 topics, as well as within the fourth section, you have some subtopics. All of these topics like related to the charts and working with the Google Data Studio, things like how to create filters, how to work with the calculations which is related to the dates, how to create calculated feeds and stuff like that is something which I will going to cover. So 20 is something which I have prepared so far, which you can, as I said, pause the video and listen to it. But apart from that, if you think there is something more that needs to be covered or you want me to cover, then you can let me know in the comments. Also, what do you think about this entire structure? You can let me know in the comments, and I will try my best to consider your comment for the future videos. That's about it. Now let's meet in the next video with the actual working within the Google Data Studio. Hello there and welcome to the next Google Data Studio tutorial. And in this tutorial, we will going to look at how an analyst can use the report. So this is the tutorial for any end user who wants to explore the report with the help of the information and the filters present over there. Here I have covered all the topics from the beginner's perspective, but if you want more in-depth tutorial related to this, then you can go to my course by giving in the link in the description and get more and more insights about it. So let's go ahead and open one report, which is Acme reporting. You can open any of the report, and if you are interested in viewing more report, you can come over here in template gallery and see the different reports for exploration. But for now, what we will going to do is open the Acme Marketing Google Analytics report. So I've just clicked the report and it will take a few seconds. So now it has appeared. So this report, if you see, has charts, a table, a map chart, a trendline chart, some KPIs, and finally some filters. So what I look at a high level, or how I will understand this report, is first of all that mainly the report is divided into two sections. One is the first section is where the information is displayed. That means the area where I will going to consume the information. And second is the interactivity part, which is basically the filters over here. One filter to select the data. Let's say if we have multiple websites of which we want to look at the analytics. For example, if you are a social media manager and your company has multiple websites, then you can basically connect to multiple websites over here. As you can see, the different websites will come into this filter, and you can just select the filter and you will have the information for that website over here. Apart from this, you have another filter for interactivity, which is related to the date. Generally, you find it into any Google Analytics or any Google product, this type of a filter, where based on the date, you can basically see how many users are really coming, how many sessions they are interacting, and information like that. So you have two basically section over here. One is the start date. So for example, if you want to explore from 1st of May to 31st of May, so we will select the start date from 1st May, and over here in the end date section we will
come back to the May 2020 and select 31st May and click apply. Once we click apply, the report will be filtered only for the May period, which is from 1st May to 31st of May as it has been displayed over here. And then we can do this analysis based on the May data. So that's the first option that you have once you start exploring or interacting with the report with the help of the date filter. Another option that you have over here is basically this particular quick filter, what I say. So based on this filter, we can see very quickly without having the hassle of selecting a particular date, that what is happening in the last 7 days, what has happened in the last 14 days, last 28 days, and so on and so forth based on the predefined filters which has been given here. So for example, this year to date or year to date filter is something which is very relevant in case of any analysis. Many companies, even in the business, they use year to date figure. So if we are interested in year to date, we will just select year to date. So by default, if you will see, the start date has gone to 1st of January and the end date has gone to 7th of June, which is the current date. You will click apply, and then you will have the figure or all of the KPIs will be updated for year to date figure, right? And similarly, if you want any other period, either you can manually select or you can come over here and make sure that you are selecting whatever period you want. Now apart from that, it gives you the option of include today. So include today generally is not included because your data or your server is processing the information. But if you want to include based on the information that has been processed so far, you can click on include today, which is then the 8th of June. You can click apply and come back. So for now, I'll just click cancel and come out. Now this is the first part where you have the interactivity filter. In this second part, we have the visualizations. Over here, if you will see, these are the KPIs, which is the indicators how your website is performing. Here you are also having the comparison that within the same period last year, how was the comparison. So that means our website is not doing good. There is 6.1% user which are less. So probably worth figuring out what's really going on. And then you have the relevant charts for your consumption, so that you can basically look at the entire data and figure it out how each of this information is progressing and relating and give you the analysis. Now as an analyst, you may want to look at all of these different charts and want to create your own analysis. So that's about how you can explore your data with the help of these filters and the visualization. But like I said, that's not all. If you want to further explore, you can go to my course given in the description and get more insights about this functionality. Hello there and welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial. And in this tutorial, I will going to talk to you about some of the limitations that is good to keep in mind about the Google Data Studio when working with it. So the first limitation that it has is the limited support to join data. So it only supports left join. That means based on the base table, the first table, you can join another table, and it supports only up to 4 data sources that can be joined together. So for any complex scenario where you need different types of joins like inner join, right join, or any other join, then it will not be supported. You have to adjust your data source according to the left join, and then if you have more than 4 data sources, which usually the case in the business, then you will find it difficult and you have to work it around to work with the 4 data sources. Maybe out of the Google Data Studio within the SQL or within the spreadsheets, you need to work it around. The next is limited configuration of charts. As I mentioned that it is still in the initial stages and just a 4-year-old tool, as well as a tool mainly if I say is for the digital marketers, then it has a limited configuration of the charts. For example, when you will work with the pivot tables, you will see that sorting on the columns is very much limited, and the similar sort of problems will be encountered on the other charts as well, but that doesn't mean that you cannot use it. You can still use it and configure the charts with all the settings that is being provided, and to get the desired functionality, again a workaround is present where you can work it around, figure out how to basically get the desired configuration. Then limited auto refresh of data. If you have seen my previous video, the auto refresh is present at 15 minutes, and I think after that 4 hours, and then 12 hours. If you need more frequent, or let's say with a specific frequency, for example 6 hours, then you don't get it over here. After that, data in the public domain. So if you are using it, the very good chance is that your data is in the public domain. So if you are using your company data, I would really recommend you that first you talk to your IT department and then use the data within the Google Data Studio, because it's in the public domain and there is a very good possibility that you may leak your data onto the public domain. So be very cautious about that, because it's an information security issue. Finally, limited functioning of filters. Filters is, as I have observed and I will show you as well, it has a very limited functioning of the filters, though it has multiple select or a particular value that you want to select, or you can search it. But when it comes to applying multiple filters and trying to understand what values are related, what values are not related, as compared to the other tools which I have used, for example Click, which works really like a charm, and one of its core functionalities also having that sort of filters where you get the complete visibility into the data. That is something which I feel is missing over here. So these are some of the high level limitations which I wanted to make you aware. It's not that it's a problem. We can still work with this and get great visualization, and in some cases we can figure out a workaround as well. So good to know what limitations are in there. If you encounter any, you let me know and I will happy to modify my resources. Alright, so that's about it, and I'll meet you in the next video. Hi, welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial, and in this tutorial we will going to look at how we can import the Google spreadsheet data within the Data Studio. As you know, importing the data is a key step to start building the visualizations, and we will going to look at step by step how we can import the data. Also, if you want to look at a very in-depth discussion about data import and some of the key issues, challenges, as well as improvements, then you can get my course which is present there below in the description and get an in-depth discussion. So let's go ahead and start using the Google Data Studio by creating the blank report. So once you click on that, you will see that a number of options is being given to you to connect the data source. You have two options: connect to data or my data source. My data source is basically your existing data sources where you have already made the connection. So once you click on the Google Sheets, which is over here, it will show you the different sheets which is available for us for the purpose of viewing, as well as you have couple of options. For example, you have all items, that means items that are owned by you or shared with you. Apart from that, any starred sheet, that means your favorite, if you have any URL, or you also have the option to directly go in the Google Drive by using this link and then import it into the Google Data Studio. Alright, apart from that, you have the option to search as well. Let's say I want to search, for example, I have Iris as one of the data set. So I can click on Iris and select this. Over here, it will show you the different sheets which are available within the Iris, and over here it has options like use first row as header if the first row contain headers, and then include hidden and filter fields. Apart from this, you have the option that you want only a specific range like A1 to B52 as an option or an example which is given over here. You can specify an example like A1 to, let's say, E500 if that's the only range you want to select. So if fixed range you want, you can select that. So let's go ahead and click add. Once we click on add, you will see that the connection will be created for us and a default report is created. So where it will by default pick up one dimension. So over dimension you have the species and the record count is 50. So by default record count is the metric which is being taken. Species is the dimension which is presented over here, and you have data source as iris. So you have two panes over here. One is the data pane, clearly indicating what is a data source, what is a dimension, what is a metric, how many rows you want per page, 100 rows or more than that or less than that, and then couple of more options down there which we can discuss later in the video. Now if there is a need that you want to change the field, you can always change the field, or you can always change the dimension, which I will be covering in the future video. But that's the minimum what you need to import any Google Data spreadsheet into the Google Data Studio. So that's about it in this tutorial about how we can import the data. But if you need more in-depth discussion and more features and understanding, then please subscribe to my course. The link is given below in the description, and you will find a much greater discussion about the importing data and how we can manage that within Google Data Studio. Hello there and welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial. And in this tutorial I will show you how you can apply the themes which are available within the Google Data Studio. So if you look at the themes, this is present over here on the right hand side. As you can see, you have the option of theme as well as the layout. What should be the layout? So let's look at some of the themes which are available here. So what does this really indicate? Well, this gives you an idea as well as pre-configured color, text and chart configuration, not chart but chart color configuration, which you can use as part of the standard dashboard in your particular dashboard which you are planning to design. So for example, if you want to use this particular theme which will show you these sort of colors when you are creating the chart, you can just select this and this theme will be applied on this particular dashboard. Now you don't see any effect because right now we have not added any text or any charts which will show you these changes. But if I, let's say, click over here on this theme, you will see that background will change because this theme uses a particular background. Similarly, if I want to use this theme, I can just select this and it will show you the dark background as it is shown over here in the themes. Now you have themes which is present over here, a lot of different themes which is basically given by the Google Data Studio as a pre-configured theme, but you have options that you can extract the theme from an image. Let's say you have an image which you really like based on what charts, what sort of text configuration which is given over there, and you want to extract that. And apart from that, if you want to change what is given in the existing theme, for example, if I select this is the theme which is present over here, and you want to customize, then you can customize over here. Once you click on customize, you have a lot of different options over here, like the report background, what should be the text style. So everything, as you can see, is configured based on the standard theme, which you can then change as per your need. And once you are done, you can close this as well, and then also change the layout. So for example, based on header visibility that you want to always show, hide, navigation position, what should be the size of the canvas, which you are seeing it over here, then snap to smart guides or grid, and what should be the grid setting and report level, component position, all of those things which is slightly advanced in nature and you would require it when you are going really in depth, and then you can go ahead and change it. Hello there and welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial. And in this tutorial I will show you how you can work with the text boxes as well as images, which is a core component of the Google Data Studio as well as to any data visualization tool, because many times you have to write your own custom text or you need to add headers, and for images, suppose you need to add logos or some other relevant image based on the statement or the visualization that you want the support on. So how we can create the text boxes and images, I will show you over here. And from this video, we will use one single data source, which is a sales data source for a superstore, so that we can continue build on that visualization. So first of all, what I'll do is add the data, and in the Google Sheets, I have the sample superstore. If I select that, here in this sheet, I want to connect the order sheet where the first row has the headers, and I want to include the hidden and filter cell. So if I click add, it will start adding the data within the Google Data Studio. Since the data is slightly large, it has some 9,000 or 10,000 odd rows, so it will take some time to get all of that data and add it into the Data Studio. So now it has added and created a default table for us, which we can select and press delete to delete that. Alright, so the very first thing we want to do is create a text box, and the text box is present over here. As you can see, if I hovering my mouse over this icon, it is showing me the text. So if I click over here, wherever I want, I can start creating a text box, and it is showing me that I am at the boundary. So I will start creating a text box, maybe up until here, to give a header that it is a sales performance dashboard. Alright, so once you have this dashboard, after that you can make the changes in the text. For example, you want to select this, and over here you have the text properties, which you can change it. Let's say, for example, we want slightly large, so 48 sales performance dashboard, and let's say, for example, we want whatever color we want, we can get it. So maybe over here dark blue. So sales performance dashboard is something which is here. Again, if we are out and we want to do some editing, we can again select this and make the changes. Let's say, for example, from blue, tomorrow the requirement comes that we want to change it to, let's say, this red color. We can change it to the red as per our need for the text box. Apart from this, as you can see, there are a lot of options to change the font. Here by default the Roboto is selected, but there are various different fonts which you can select as per the needs, and then formatting, alignment, as well as if you want to link. Say, for example, on this dashboard you want to link some other report, which is another report related to the sales dashboard. You can link it, or maybe the website link that you want. So you can make all of those settings with the help of this text properties. Down there you have some more formatting, the basic formatting like background and border, and changing the paddings based on where the text is displayed inside it. So as per the needs of the organization or your personal needs, you can change the properties of the text. So once the text is added, let's say you want to add the icon or the icon of the company, so to reflect a better dashboard look and feel. So to do that, you can come over here on the image, and you can say you can either upload from computer or you can get it by URL. So let's select something from the computer, and maybe one of the icon which I have is related to this. I'm sure you must be familiar for this icon. This is a Snapchat's icon, which is just a dummy example which I'm showing you, but you can get whatever icon you want and adjust it as per your needs. And as you can see, its properties is also very basic. For example, you can link the image, link a URL with this image. For example, you want to show your company website. When somebody is clicking over here, that's generally the default choice, so you can click over there. Also, if it is a department specific dashboard and you have a department specific website or SharePoint or any space which is available through the URL, you can put it over here. Couple of formatting options that you can do is again very basic, related to the background and border. And for some good display, you can have the border shadow, if sort of a shadow that you need. So based on what changes you want to do, you can make it, but that's very basic how you can add the text, change the styles or formatting of the text based on need, as well as add the image for the purpose of a good visualization which is specific to your company needs. Hi there and welcome to the new video tutorial on the Google Data Studio, and in this video we will going to look at how you can create a bar chart within the Google Data Studio. So bar chart is a very common chart, as you would probably know, which is useful in doing the comparison of categories. So for example, you have different customer categories, then you can compare those. Similarly, you have product categories, you can compare those, let's say for sales or for profit, based on the needs of your analysis. So how you can create a chart is by coming over here. You have add chart box, and in that you have the column chart or the bar chart. Over here you have the different categories, whether it's a column chart or a stack bar chart, 100% stack bar chart, a normal bar chart but with the horizontal orientation. So this is vertical orientation and this is horizontal orientation, and same stack bar chart and 100% stack bar chart for the horizontal orientation. So let's create a standard column chart over here and just drop it over here by clicking there. By default, the Google Data Studio choose some of the dimension and measure for us. For example, the record count is selected over here. So how we can change the dimension and the measure so that we get the relevant output. So for this, first of all, I will just give it a little bit space, and then I'll come over here in the data. So this is a very extensive list, as you can see, talks about what data source we have, what is a date range dimension that we want to have. Similarly, what dimension. So dimension is something which we want to change. Let's say I don't want order priority. I want customer segment, which is a field in this database. So I'll select, click over there and type here in the search. It will show me that it has customer name and it has customer segment. So I will select customer segment over here, and my chart will be selected for the customer segment, which now shows that bars for the corporate, home office, consumer and small business. Clearly corporate has the more record count, that means more number of records, because that's the measure Google Data Studio has by default selected. So to change that, let's say from record count to sales, then I will come over here in the metric and select the metric, and over here I will start typing, because I have a lot of different fields. So instead of going one by one, I will start writing sales and it will show me the sales over here. And now the value of the sales is appearing over here along with this legend which says that bar represents here the sales values. Now we have sales. Along with that, you can add a couple of more metrics which is relevant. Let's say you want, apart from sales, you want to add profit maybe. However, once we will add profit will be comparatively very less as compared to the sales. So I've just selected that, and here now we have another bar for profit. So this profit indicates in the light green color, as you can see, and to see the values when we put our mouse on top of these bars, we need to come over here in the view mode. So once we are in the view mode or in the presentation mode, it shows the profit for corporate. It's somewhere around $600,000, but the sale is 5.49 millions, and same is the case for these categories. So that's minimum what we need to do to create a bar chart or configure the bar chart as per our needs, either for one measure or for multiple measure over here. For example, you have sales and profit, and you can add one more metric over here as per your needs. Hello there and welcome to the new tutorial on the Google Data Studio. And in this tutorial, we will going to talk about the line chart. So line chart, as you have seen in other dashboards or maybe on the websites or any publication, it talks about the trend which is over a period of time. So if you have a need where you need to create, let's say, the visitors trend or the sales trend, the profit trend over a period of time, then you need to create a line chart. To do that, we need to come over here in the add a chart section, and over here in the time series, it has three different types of chart. One is the time series chart or a standard time series chart, which you will find anywhere or in any data visualization. Another is the sparkline chart. So sparkline chart is a form of the existing chart, but it is a bit squeezed and little bit shrinked as compared to a very broad and big line chart. It just indicates in a very small space how the trend really looks like, and usually it is used along with the KPI indicator. So for example, if you have a sales, let's say of $100,000, then it will show you, the sparkline will show you how the trend looks like, whether it is going up or down, because it takes a very small space and give you the indication of the trend. Then you have the smoothed time series chart. So generally the time series is sort of a zigzag chart. As you can see, it's going up, down, so it's sort of a zigzag. Whenever you have more variation in the trend or more changes in the trend, identifying the trend is really difficult. In that case, you use the smoothed line chart by smoothing the time series, and there are various factors by which you can smooth, which is moving average, exponential moving average, and metrics like those. So let's go ahead and start creating a time series chart over here, and it is asking us where we want to drop it. So here, as you can see in the red line, it is in the alignment with my existing bar chart, so I will just drop it here, and by default it will configure my chart for the sales metric over the various order date, which is over here as the part of the dimension. Now, apart from dimension, like other chart that we have previously discussed, the bar chart, it has the default date range dimension, which right now gives you all the dates. Similarly, it shows the metric. So instead of sales, if you want some other, let's say profit, then you can choose the profit metric, and it will be displayed over here on the chart in few seconds as it will process the data. So now you see, in case of a profit, it's a different scenario altogether, because profit can be in some cases negative as well, and that's where the interesting things or interesting perspective comes to basically see where the negative trend is coming. That means the profit is going negative in situations like customers are asking for returns and stuff like that. So this is about changing the metric, but a lot of things which you can do with the help of the custom values. For example, right now it is order date, but many times you may want not the exact date, but by each month or by each quarter or by each year. So all of this you can do with the help of applying the the relevant function. Similarly, you have the drill down and capabilities like that, and rest of the values are like that, which we have discussed in the previous video. Other than here in the line chart, you have the comparison date range as well. Hi there, welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial, and in this tutorial we will going to talk about the new chart, which is combo chart. So the combo chart is again present over here in add a chart section, and over here if you will come to this section which is line, you will find that a chart with the bar and the line is present over here. So you have couple of variation. Either you can have just single bar and line, or you can have a stacked combo chart. So we will going to choose only the combo chart for now, and we will going to place an alignment with the first chart, and I'll just come down a little bit below and make this an alignment with the chart above. So apart from chart, as you can see, alignment is also doing the alignment is also pretty easy. It gives us indication where the left axis or the right axis is stopping. All right, now over here it has done a default configuration like sales over here on, this is the brown line, and the profit is over here. So what you can do is you can move this up and down. So profit is, let's say I want to make it up over here, So this way profit is now the line and sales is now the bar. So this way you can change. Also, if you don't want the default configuration, then you can always change here. Let's say along with the profit, I don't want sales, but what I need is basically discount over here. And discount maybe from the perspective of average. Since the discounting is pretty low, that's why you are not able to see it. It's just in couple of decimal values. So what I'll do is I will bring back the sales value so that it is showing you up here along with the profit dimension. Now couple of other things like optional metrics, which I have already shown you, drill down that I have already shown you, that we can create a hierarchy. So for example, in this case, we have customer segment and we want to drill it down, so we can enable that and add the dimension as per our needs to get the drill down details. Down there you will find the settings which is related to sorting or default date range, and filter if you want to apply any filter on this chart, which is a predefined filter, explained you earlier as well. Interaction, if you want enable the sorting, as you can see sorting is enabled over here, so that will enable sorting. Applying the filter in case we want someone or the end user to select a particular section of the chart, and this should work as a filter for the rest of the dashboard, you will enable that. So that's mainly what you need to create a combo chart, and combo chart is very commonly used to compare two different metrics in the visualization form, so that you can find a relation between those two metrics, and you don't have to create two different charts, like one is bar chart and one is the line chart, and then you place it one top of another. So keeping this in mind, like every other visualization or the dashboard that you will see has one or the other combo chart. That's why it has become the standard part of every data visualization software that you will see. So that's about how you can do all the basic settings related to the creation of the combo chart for the purpose of displaying two different measures on one single scale by the dimension of our choice. Hello there and welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial, where I will show you how you can create an area chart like this. So as you can see, an area chart is a variation on the line chart or the time series chart. As you can see, data is distributed over time for a dimension of our choice. So it uses shaded areas like this that is under the plotted line on the graph to indicate the volume of data represented by the line. So volume is basically in this case represented by profit. So wherever the profit is more, you see that area is more, and same is for the rest of the categories, and that helps us do the comparative analysis along with the trend information on this chart. So like a time series chart, area charts are useful for seeing how your data trends over time. And like I said, along with the trend, you also see the contribution of each part or each dimension value of this trend over a period of time. So it shows this two different information on this same chart. And that's why in many dashboards you will see that this chart is used very wisely to indicate these properties. Now let's see how we can create it from the scratch. So what I'll do is remove this by pressing delete button, and then I will going to go here and add a chart. So area chart is over here. You have three variation. One is the stacked area chart. That means the values or the dimension values will be stacked one over another. Another one is the 100% area chart. So this area chart shows the values, but this is 100% stack area chart to show the real contribution in the terms of percentages. And then this is the area chart, which is non-stack area chart, shows the actual values going up or down into the area chart. So our default is this one, which is used in most of the dashboards or reports, but same configuration will be needed when you are working with any of these charts. So I will select one chart over here and click here, it will show us the default dimension and default measure. So the default dimension is the customer segment. As you can see it over here, the breakdown dimension is customer segment. By default, dimension is order date, and it is showing you the actual date information. Now you have option over here that you can enable drill down. Once you enable the drill down, the very first dimension is year, month, and finally the order date. Or if you don't want this drill down but always want to show a specific dimension, like a specific value, like for example only for the year or only for the quarter, then what you can do is come over here on this icon, which is now converted into a pencil, and then click over here. Over here, granularity option you have. From granularity you can select. So let's say for example I want to show it by year. So now the year information is displayed, and I'll just click outside, and over here my dimension will now show me year. So this is something which you can even do with the line chart as well, that based on the level of granularity that you want, then you can change the granularity by coming over here on the dimension, and on this pencil icon when you click, you can change the granularity from here, and the same will be displayed on top of the chart. So that's the minimum setting one needs to do to create an area chart and display the trend information over a period of time along with the dimension value, to show how the chart is formed up both from the trend perspective as well as contribution of the values perspective. Hello there, and welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial. And in this tutorial I will going to show you how you can create a pie chart within the Google Data Studio. So pie chart is a very common type of chart which is mostly available in the reports or dashboards, showing you the contribution of total for a particular category. Now, along with the pie chart, you have the option that you can also create a donut chart. But in this video, I will show you how you can create the pie chart, and from that pie chart itself, we can move to the shape of the donut. So let me click it over here, and I can drop it the place wherever I want, and Google Data Studio will give the default configuration with the relevant dimension, and as you can see I am adjusting to the chart above. So this is a one beautiful pie chart for the customer segment, which is corporate, home office, consumer and small business, and their relevant contribution indicates that 36.9% is for corporate. So how this does the contribution is based on this metric. So right now we have the sales, and this indicates that sales has 36.9% as the contribution, and so on and so forth for the rest of the categories. Now if you need to change the default setting, let's say you don't want customer segment as a dimension but you want something else, so you can click over here, and let's say we have product category as one other dimension. So now we can see the contribution of each product category over here on this pie chart. So clearly technology is leading with 40%, followed by furniture and then office supplies. Similarly, you have the option of changing the metric. Right now we have sales, but let's say we want by profit. So we can change this to profit, and it also clearly shows that more than 50%, which is actually 58%, you have technology, followed by 34.1% office supplies, and then the furniture. So it gives you a ballpark figure of the contribution or the view of your entire business based on the various customer segment you have or whether product category you have. You will find that you know the contribution or you know the proportion of each of these values within just few seconds. Afterwards, you have your options for sorting, whether you want to sort by profit, and as you can see you have the option of selecting here and changing which field you want for sort. Like instead of profit you want sales, so you can change the sales as per your needs, and then whether you want sorting in ascending or descending format. Similarly, you have the option of changing the automatic date range, that means for the entire date range, or you want a custom date range. So you can apply the custom date range as well, so that this chart will be specified or reduced to a particular date range that you are selecting, let's say for 1 year or one specific year of the date on which this chart is created. If you want to apply any predefined filter, you can add a filter from here. For example, you want to show this chart only for the home office segment, the customer segment as home office, then you can only show it for home office by adding a filter, which I've shown you in one of the very first videos about how you can add the filters. Similarly, if you want that your user should be able to interact with the pie chart, for example, if they are selecting over here, then the rest of the chart values or the dashboard values is updated, then you can say that in the interaction I want to apply the filter on the chart, that if someone selecting a value from here, then the rest of the charts in the dashboard will be updated accordingly. So that's the minimum configuration that one needs to do to create the pie chart. Hello there and welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial for developing the KPIs. So let's see in this video how we can work in developing the KPIs, which is nothing but mentioned in the chart section as the scorecard. So KPIs is nothing but key performance indicator, as you would be aware that these are helpful in indicating where the key metric is. So for example, where is the sales, where is the profit, or on an average how much discount we are giving at a high level is something which is sort of a key performance indicator which every manager would like to track for their respective department. Alright, so let's go ahead and choose one KPI. So here we have two options, scorecard and compact scorecard. The only difference is that in case of 1168, it will show you 1.1K or 1.2K. So it will have just a compact number. So let's click it over here. And what I'll do is drop it on here, so that because it takes a very less size, as you can see, and by default it shows the name of the KPI, which is profit, and then what is the value. So right now it's the entire data set that it is taking, and that's why the profit is coming as the 1.5 million. Now it's up to us whether we want profit or we want someone else, something else like sales or anything. So for example, if I want to change from sum of profit to sales, I will choose the sales over here. So now I have the 14.9 million as a sales value. And as an exercise, what you can do is you can create one more or two more KPIs for all the different measures that we have. So for example, we have sales, we have discount, which you should take as an average discount. Then you have quantity, again you need to take average quantity. Similarly, product-based margin, the average product-based margin. Profit, up to you, you want sum or average of the profit. So you can create all of these KPIs side by side if you are following this document, and this way you will be able to practice it. So that's the minimum setting that you need to do to create the KPIs, and then you have the option of specifying the date range and doing a comparison, like whether the sale is going up or down as compared to the previous year. So for example, let's say if we select 2011 as a year from the custom range, then compared to the 2011, whether the sale is up or down when you compare it with the 2010. So you can do all of that comparison and shows the green or red indicator. And then you have the option of adding the filter, whether you want some predefined filter. For example, if you are creating a specific product dashboard and for example the technology dashboard, then you can specify the product filter as technology, which I have explained to you in the one of the previous videos as well, that how to apply this additional filters. So that's minimum what you need for creating the KPI for the purpose of displaying it at the either at the top of the dashboard or on the right hand side or on the left hand side. So generally it's a choice which your either end user dictate or your company wide dashboard themes dictates that this is a structure that you need to follow, and accordingly you can just drag it wherever you want and then place it for your end user needs. Hello there and welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial, and in this tutorial I will show you how we can create tables like these. So table chart is a chart which you will see in every single dashboard or a report, and for some reasons the management really loves it. I mean, it shows direct values as compared to the visualization, though visualization is really helpful in knowing from the visual perspective that how much is the contribution of dimension values, like in this case technology, office supplies and all, but the actual value have some sort of an obsession, which I've seen personally in my case as well, that management would love to see these things, as well as indicators like this, which is something like comparison with the previous period or comparison with some sort of as per their business rules. So how we can create a tables like this, and as well as add some dynamic behavior, which I've shown you earlier as well, but here as well. So for example, so this is a product category table which has profit and sales, but in the same table we want to see the customer dimension as well. So what we can do is just have this drill down available, and this drill down basically says that instead of product category, now we have customer segment, and rest of the visualization and metric will be auto calculated as per the settings that we have done. So this is very beneficial in scenarios like those where your customer wants to see these tables from different perspective. So by educating them what are the dimensions that you have over here in this dynamic behavior, you can help them understand the table as well as add dynamic behavior to your tables as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and see how we can create tables. So let's come over here in the edit mode, and what I'll do is remove this table and I'll go into the chart. So over here we have tables, which is here. Okay, so we have table over here, which is a simple table. Then we have table with the bars. That means along with the table values you will have the bars, and then you have the table with the heat map. So on the values you will have a heat map or a color coding based on how high or low the value is. So what you do is create a table over here first of all, and create in alignment with this. I'll just extend this little bit, and by default you will see that you have the product category as profit. Now product category and profit is the default fields. If you need to add one more metric, like let's say for example sales, you can come over here in the metric section and say search for sales. So now you have sales and profit. So generally sales comes first, so what I'll do is bring this up by dragging it up, and this way your structure will change as well. So it's very straightforward, as you can see, and I'm just dragging the sections over here so that they are properly or evenly distributed. Now after that you have a couple of things. For example, you can add the dimension over here. So product category, you can have, say for example, customer segment as over here. So this customer segment is now part of this table, but this is not the dynamic behavior which I have shown you earlier. As you can see, this table has for each product category you have the customer segment. So product category is technology, then you have corporate, technology, small business, technology, home office. That means it's a breakdown of product category by the customer segment. What you can do is you can just enable this drill down, and with this drill down the first dimension becomes the product category, and once you will click on this arrow, which is light gray arrow, you will have the customer segment. But this will work only in the view mode. So we will go into the view, and over here now if I change this to next my customer segment, so my customer segment value will appear over here. So that's the most basic settings that you need to do to create a matrix. Hello there, and welcome to the new Data Studio tutorial. And in this Google Data Studio tutorial, I will going to show you how you can create a bullet chart like this. So bullet chart is a very useful chart whenever you need to do some sort of a comparison, like for example, sales against the target or the actual expense against the budget, and you would really like to see whether the value over here has moved past the target or running behind the target. And these gray areas, if you can see, the dark gray is basically the first target, this is basically the second target, the medium dark gray, and the very light gray is basically your third target. So all of these settings you need to do to create the bullet chart. So let's see how very quickly how we can do that. So I'll come outside of the edit mode. So first of all, I'll just select and delete this chart, and so that we can create it from the scratch. Now if I select the bullet chart from here, it will create the default bullet chart for me. So this default bullet chart is basically based on the sales, as you can see the metric. However, you can have the optional bullet metric. Let's say when you want to give the power to the user that not only sales, the user should be able to select other metric, for example profit, they will be able to select it. But the only problem is that these range limits is something you specify manually. So need to be careful when you are specifying optional metric, because they should be in relation to these optional these range limits. Alright, so let's move ahead, and first of all, we have a metric of sales where the actual value, if you see in the view mode, you have 14.8 million or close to 15 million. But if you see the target or the range limits over here, range 1, range 2 and range 3 is very less. So what we can do is, maybe first range we have to specify is 500,000. The second range is let's say what we have is 1 million. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and next is basically your 20 million. So I will just press 2 and one more 0. So this way now you can see it is going up till 20 million, and that's why the bar has moved close to the 14 million over here. Now we need to show the target. Target is nothing but this line. So what should be our target? Let's say our target is 17 million. So I will press 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now if this is what our target is, then we can clearly see that there is a gap of around 2 million from the target to the actual value. And this is something which then filterable based on what filters you have chosen. So that's the basic setting what you need to do to create a bullet chart like this, which I suggest you further shrink it like this, and it's a personal choice whether you want these values or not. Generally it doesn't make a lot of sense, because if you go in a view mode, it clearly shows us the actual value over here, and which indicates that where we are standing it right now. So that's the basic setting you need to do to create the bullet chart for the purpose of creating the KPI. And you can create based on whatever KPI you want to create, you have in mind, or you have it from the requirement perspective, which gives you the indication how they are performing against the target. Apart from this, like in the other videos which I have shown you, you can also do the comparison. So the comparison will be shown on this chart, where you will have another chart. So for example, if I just quickly show you over here, so what I have selected is from 1st Jan 2011 to 31st December 2011, and I want to see it for the last year. So for comparison period, I will choose either the previous year, or my recommendation is previous period, so that whatever period you will choose, it will be shown accordingly. So the comparison period is the previous period over here. So in custom, I just need to apply, click on apply, and now if you see, the chart has been reduced to that period, which is 2011, and the bigger bar which you are seeing is basically the previous period chart. So it's up to us what period we want to show it over here. with the help of the comparison we can see it. So I'll go back to the default properties. Down there you have the option where you want to customize this filter with the particular predefined filter, for example only for the technology product or for the furniture or things like those. Now in style you don't have much, but couple of styles like what should be your bar color, what should be your range color. Range is nothing but in the gray. Then what should be your axis, whether you want to show it or not. Like I suggested, personally I don't want, because I can clearly hover my mouse over to this bar and it can show me, but it's up to you according to your company's standards. Down there you have option of background and border and chart header, which gets indicated as you would like. So in this case, if I'm saying always, then it is always shown over here. So that's about how quickly, very quickly you can create the bullet chart within the Google Data Studio. But like you have seen, it has some shortcomings. For example, you have to manually specify the range, you have to manually specify the target, which does not change when you specify the optional metric over here. So for example, if I say profit, we can see the profit in the front end. When I go into the view mode, I can see the profit, but it will be relevant to whatever target we had. So for example, the 70 million over here, which probably something will be fixed in the coming version. So that's about it, and I'll meet you in the next video. Hi there, and welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial. And in this tutorial I will show you how you can create a map like this, a geo map, which shows you your territory or your state or city information as per the details you have in your data set. So mostly all of the reporting solution or all of the reporting data sets contains one or the other field which is related to the geography, because whatever sales or whatever business you are doing has to be done within some sort of a geographical location. And geomaps are an interesting chart which helps you visualize the information with the help of the maps. And that is very interactive, by which you can clearly see by looking at the geography and based on the color like this one. So Ontario is the highest sales one, followed by British Columbia, and so on and so forth. So this gives us a bird eye view. Within few minutes or few seconds, you can get to know how your sales are doing. So how we can create this chart, I will show you in this video, as well as this is also interactive. So for example, if I select any of the territory over here, you have Northwest territories, you see that all your values will be changed accordingly. So if I select like Yukon over here, then all the different charts will be updated accordingly. So sometimes map is also used as a central part. Let's say for example, you are creating a Canada specific dashboard, or maybe to a general manager of a Canada who needs to take care of the sales, and based on the location the person is clicking, you will have your rest of the KPIs and metrics changed accordingly. So let's go ahead and see how we can create this within the Data Studio. Alright, so what I'll do is I will just remove this chart from here, and to create it I need to go into the add a chart section, and over here we have two different options. We have GeoMaps and we have Google Maps. So GeoMap, you can think GeoMap as a filled maps, as the location is filled with a color, whereas on the Google Maps you will have sort of a circles or the bubbles which is displayed on top of the geography or the territory, which you can change it based on some sort of a parameter. For example, if the sales is high, then the bubble size will be large. Similarly, here it is shown with the help of the color. That means if the color is dark, the highest the higher the value. So let's go ahead and create the geo map over here and drop it over here. So once you drop it, what you get is basically with the default values, like what is the data range, date range over here. So entire date's been considered, but you can restrict it. Then you have the geo dimension. So by default we have only one dimension, which is province, categorized as geo. So it's been by default selected, and by default you have the sum as the metric. Now the problem is that if I go into the front end, it will not show me anything. I mean, it will show me this Yukon, but this is first of all a map of United States. However, the values we have for the territories is in the Canada. So let's see how we can fix this. So to fix this, let's first select the chart and then come down over here. You have the zoom area. You need to click over here on the zoom area and then search for Canada. So that means you can make your geomap specific to a country location like a Canada over here, so that your map will show you the right information. Also, this will be helpful in zooming the area for a specific location. So for example, one location may be United States for United States specific dashboard, one may be Canada, another may be, let's say, for France or United Kingdom. Based on how many geographies you have, you can just replicate that. So now it's there. We can go into the view mode and it will start showing us the information about it. Now there are a lot of other things that you can do with this, and for that, let me go into the front end. So like the example which I showed you, that you can make it filterable, and that's a very straightforward, like coming over here in the interactions, you have the option of applying a filter. So if you check that and again go into the view mode, you can now select this and all these different charts will be updated accordingly. So this way you can make your chart interactive as well as informative for your dashboards. After doing these configurations, you also have some other options like having the date ranges, which is mentioned over here. If I just select this, you have the property where you can have the date range, you can filter it, and then some of the style properties which you can set according to your needs. Hello there and welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial. And in this tutorial, I will show you a different type of map, which is a Google map, to display your statistic on the chart related to your business. So over here we have a chart which is a Google map chart, and we are showing the sales values as the size of the circle, and the profit is based on the color scheme. So that means darker the profit, darker brown is the profit, that means higher is the sales. So this is a very interesting and interactive chart where you have a lot of options to zoom in and zoom out. So if you click on zoom in, you will be able to zoom in as it says, and zoom out is to zoom it out. Also, you have the option of dragging this Pac-Man onto the map to open the street view. So if you want to have really something very detailed information that you are showing, you can drag this person over here and this will show you the relevant location. Now to come back, you have this arrow icon which you can come back. The third option, which is very interesting over here, is basically this icon, which is a toggle full screen view, and you will have a full screen. Let's say you have one centralized chart showing you all the location of your sales, then you can toggle into the full screen mode and all the different locations will be displayed for you to analyze your data with the help of these circles and the color coding. So to come back, you need to come over here and the same chart will be displayed over here. So how we can create this type of a chart is again a very straightforward within the Google Data Studio without much of the hassle. So let me go into the edit mode, and in the edit mode I will select this and delete the chart, add a chart like for example Google Map over here, and drop it to the relevant location. You can drag it or up or down based on your needs so that you can get the relevant screen size filled with the map. Afterwards, you have to configure over here. So by default, the region field is being selected over here from here. And what you can do is add the metric. Right now, nothing is shown. So what I will do is I will pick the sales and put it for the bubble size. So now the bubble size is relevant to the sales. After that, for bubble color, what I need to do is bring the profit over here and put it over here. So this way I can create my chart very easily with some dragging and dropping of the fields, and it will be available for me into the front end view for viewing and analyzing purposes. Hello there and welcome to another Google Data Studio tutorial, and in this tutorial I will show you how you can create a pivot table or the pivot table in the Google Data Studio. So pivot table is a very common type of the metric or the chart which is helpful in displaying the information in the sort of expandable or collapsible format, and that shows both the relation between the rows like this and the columns, which you can make it dynamic or you can change it as per your needs of the analysis. So how we can create a pivot table or the pivot table over here is by using this add a chart option, and down there you have the pivot table. So in the pivot table you have the table with the text values only, with the bars, or with the heat map. So what we can do is just choose a one simple table over here and drop it over here, and this it will do a default setting that by default it has chosen the product category and the different regions over here, which is province. Now we have the option where we can have the more dimensions. Instead of product category, we can have the along with the product category we can have the any other dimension. So for example, product subcategory over here, so I can just drag in over here and it will show me the product subcategory as well. And then you have the option of expand and collapse. So right now everything is expanded, but you can have the option of expand and collapse. So this way this plus icon will be enabled for you, that you can use with the pivot table. Down there you will see some options like having the totals or ascending or descending sales for the purpose of sorting, and then filter and interaction. But that's at a minimum what you need to do to basically create a pivot table, and that you can something expand or collapse based on the needs that you have, and make the changes accordingly. So as I mentioned, you can add more dimensions and more columns. So let's say for example, along with the province you want to know about something related to the shipping information. So that is something ship mode, for example, and I can bring in the ship mode over here, and then what it will show you based on the dimensions which we have mentioned over here, it will show a ship mode and their relative province. So what I'll do is I will bring the ship mode down there so that first I can see the province information and then the ship mode information. So it will take, so yeah, it's done. So now I can see for my each location, let's say for Ontario, how many shipping is in with the help of regular air, or with the help of the delivery truck, or with the help of the express air for a particular type of technology product. And then I can further expand it to really go into the details and see for each of the product subcategory under the main category, let's say office machine, how many products are being delivered with the help of these different ship modes. And as you can see, it's very clear that telephone and communication don't have anything with the help of the delivery truck. So something, if it is missing or something which is going beyond a particular threshold or something, you can very quickly analyze with the help of the tables over, or the pivot table over here. Hello there and welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial. And in this tutorial I will going to show you how you can create a scatter chart like this, which will help you know the information about the various products or various customers based on the respective measures like profit and sales. So what we are doing it over here is we are displaying the information of the products based on their respective sales and profit to various customers and various different location, and then we are bifurcating these products by the shipping mode. So whether the shipping's been done by the delivery truck or the regular air or the express air. So which will help you understand if there is some sort of a policy violation or something which is not as per your understanding of the business. So for example, if you see, most of the express air is here where the product is slightly of less value as compared to the delivery truck, where these delivery truck products are having the higher order value as compared to the express air. So this basically enables you to do the comparison and figure out whether the things are happening as per your perspective or not. So let's see how we can create a scatter chart. So for that, I'll go into the edit mode, and first of all I'll just remove that, and then I will come over here and add a chart. And in chart we have the option of adding the scatter chart over here. So we have two types of scatter chart. We have a normal scatter chart, or we can have a bubble chart. So let's go ahead and create a normal scatter chart over here. So once we add a scatter chart over here, it will show us that with the help of the default dimension values and measures in a second. So right now we have the customer segment, and which is displayed over here, and we have the profit and sales. So if we go into the front end, we can go into the view mode and see the various customer segment, and clearly the corporate customer segment is the most profitable, as well as where the most sales is going on. So we can always change the dimension over here. So let's say we don't want customer segment, but what we want is the product name. So we can bring the product name on top of the customer segment, and this will now show us the various product names. So this product name is now clearly showing us hundreds of products that the company sell, and which you can basically analyze it on the axis of sales and profit to know which are your most profitable products, like this, which is a Global Troy Executive Leather Low Back Titer, or the products where you are having the losses. So for example, like this Okidata Pacemark 4410N product. So this way it can give you a bird's eye view of your products, which you want to analyze based on the dimensions you have or the measures you have. But not only this, it allows us to do various settings, both in the data area, where you can change a lot of data specific, sorting specific, date range specific properties, as well as style properties. Hello there, and welcome to the new Google Data Studio tutorial. And in this tutorial I will show you the tree map chart. So tree map chart is also an interesting chart which is generally used at the middle of the dashboard to show the impact of the various different categories. So let's say if you are creating the product specific chart, and you have the requirement that based on the various products that you have, you want to show their contribution. Also, you want to enable the user that not with the filter, but by just choosing it over here from the chart itself, the rest of the other chart should be changed. So this gives you two benefits. One is that instead of pie chart, you use tree map. So whenever you have a lot of categories, like in this case, which is more than 10 categories right now, the tree map chart is a better choice as compared to the pie chart, which shows you the contribution. So here contribution is shown, as you can see, with the help of the boxes over here. So this indicates that Office Machine has the highest sales, and the color is dark brown. So it is 2.1 million compared to the table sale, which is 1.8 million, followed by telephones and communication, and then chairs and chair mats, so on and so forth. And the last one is present over here, which is the rubber bands. So in just one single chart, you can clearly see the contribution, as well as when you add the interactivity, you will be able to filter your entire dashboard with the help of this chart. So this helps you the optimization of the dashboard itself to use the space more creatively. So let's go into the edit mode and see how we can create this chart. So what I'll do is I will just delete this and come over here in add chart, and down there at the end we have the tree map chart. So over here I will just drop it, and it will show us the default values, all the default settings and everything. So what I'll do is expand this a little bit, and with the help of the tree map, as you can see, it does the settings itself when I had not dragged it down, you have the settings like this. So this also becomes sort of a menu as well as a KPI, which clearly indicate how your different segments are performing. And once I drag it down, you will see that these values is now changed and showing you a proper tree map chart. Now, instead of customer segment, like earlier I was showing you the product subcategory, you can bring the product subcategory over here and then have a similar view. So earlier we did not have the all and this scale, which we can change it within the style itself, but over here you have a lot of different other options as well, like the drill down and up to what level you want to show. So let's say from product subcategory you want to go to the product name, and then from product name, let's say you want to go to customer. All of those settings you can do it with the help of adding the dimension. Then you can show the sales metric, up to you whether you want to sales metric or profit metric. You can just click it over here, search the metric and change it accordingly. Also in the runtime, if you want to have the sales or the profit metric to be replaced with something else, then you can specify the optional metric. So that's mainly the high level, the basic settings that you need to do for the creation of the tree map chart.